Climate change happens when CO2 or carbon is emitted into the air by various industrial sources like cars and factories. This carbon released in the air is trapped by the atmosphere. This creates sort of a oven effect or a greenhouse effect from the sun, so it basically traps the heat from the sun. This in turn melts the ice caps near the poles. This is a problem because the ice caps work like a refrigerator that keeps the rest of the world cool. So if the ice melts, then the rest of the world gets warmer. Also, the number of record high temperature events in the United States has been increasing, while the record number of lower temperature events has been decreasing. This means that the world is getting warmer.
This graph, published by NASA, shows the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere over the years. As you can see, starting around the time of the Industrial Revolution, the amount of carbon dioxide spiked. In 1950, the amount of carbon dioxide hit an unprecedented amount, and as shown in this graph, since that unprecedented amount was reached, it has gone up nearly 100 million parts. We know we have all this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but is that really what is making the Earth warm up? Ben Kirkman answers in the C-SPAN clip.
Our best assessments are about 70% of the warming that we've seen since the 1950s is due to fossil fuel emissions, and maybe 30% is natural. And the certainty on those kind of estimates is something like 95% to 100%.
So how does all this carbon dioxide and the heating affect sea levels, and why is that important? We interviewed Tim Grandia, director of the program on sea level rise at Climate Central, to find out. He gave us 2 reasons global warming makes sea levels rise.
The first is called thermal expansion. When temperature rises, water expands. And so a warmer ocean, even if it's the exact same volume, even if it's the exact same mass, is going to increase in volume with temperature. So that's the other way, and the way that is more concerning looking into the future, is the melting of polar ice. And so when ice that is previously on land melts or breaks off or otherwise disintegrates and enters the ocean, that dramatically increases the overall volume of the ocean.
So how much are these things actually making the sea levels rise?
Since the 1880s, the average global sea level rise has been 8 or 9 inches. But the rate at which that is occurring is increasing because, we're just pumping more and more carbon into the atmosphere. And so around a third of that has happened in just the last 20 years. So how much they've risen is, basically like measured scientific fact. There's no argument around that.
This globe shows worldwide sea levels. The areas in yellow, orange, and red have suffered from a rising sea level, and their sea levels are continuing to rise.
There are nearly 5 million people that live in 2.6 million homes that are less than 4 feet above high tide. Most scientists expect this flooding to go from 2 to 7 feet, so these people will be affected the most. This is most likely going to affect major coastal cities such as New Orleans, Miami, New York, LA, Seattle, and Houston, and various other cities, and that's just in America.
Most people in the scientific community think that the impacts at the rate and level of sea level rise is actually going to be higher than a lot of the big international publications.
The evidence is plenty and the facts are indisputable. Global warming and sea level rise is a major problem. If it's not taken care of soon by our leaders, many cities of the coastal United States will suffer, and so will the citizens living in them. Global warming and sea level rise is a priority that our nation's leaders need to focus on now. So, do you agree that this is a pretty big issue that our government leaders should be focusing on?
Absolutely. It's a pretty big issue that I think everyone should be focusing